What if I told you that the reason you're struggling financially has absolutely nothing to do with how hard you work, how many hours you put in, or even how smart you are with money? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Here's something that might shock you. Your bank account right now is nothing more than a mirror reflecting back the exact words you've been speaking about money for years. Every casual complaint about being broke, every worried conversation about bills, every time you've said, "I can't afford it," or "money is tight." You've been unconsciously programming your financial reality through the power of your own voice. Has this ever happened to you? You work incredibly hard, maybe even multiple jobs. You follow all the financial advice. You budget and save. Yet somehow, you always seem to end up in the same place financially. You look around and wonder why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth while you're constantly struggling to make ends meet. What you're about to discover might surprise you, but the answer isn't found in working harder or finding better investment strategies. The truth is, there's an invisible law at work that most people never learn about, a spiritual principle that governs how money flows into your life. This law doesn't care about your education, your background, or even your current circumstances. It responds to one thing only, the words that consistently come out of your mouth. Think about it for a moment. How many times today have you already spoken words of lack? Maybe you said, "I'm broke," or "I can't afford that," or "money is so tight right now." Each time you speak these words, you're not just describing your situation, you're actually creating it. Your financial condition is quite literally the visible echo of your invisible decree. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share with you will fundamentally change how you think about money forever. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful manifestation. This is about understanding a precise spiritual law that has been transforming lives for decades. Based on the revolutionary teachings of Florence Scovel Shinn, whose students discovered that money doesn't follow effort, it follows speech. The most successful people in the world, whether they realize it or not, have mastered this one simple principle. They speak differently about money. They declare abundance instead of lack. They proclaim prosperity instead of poverty. And their bank accounts reflect exactly what they've been speaking into existence. Right now, in this very moment, you have the power to begin rewiring your entire financial future simply by changing what comes out of your mouth. The technique you're about to learn takes just minutes a day, requires no special skills or background, and yet it has the power to transform your financial reality in ways that might seem impossible. But here's what makes this different from everything else you've tried. If these insights are shifting how you think about money and abundance, you'll definitely want to subscribe to this channel. I regularly share these deeper spiritual principles that actually create real-world financial results, the kind of content that bridges divine truth with practical transformation. Most financial advice operates purely from human logic. It tells you to be realistic, to calculate every move, to doubt big dreams because they seem impossible. Your rational mind has been trained to look at your current bank balance and say, "This is what's real. This is what I have to work with." But what if I told you that this very mindset is exactly what's keeping you trapped in financial limitation? There's a hidden truth that successful people understand, often without even realizing it. While human reason calculates and postpones, there's a divine law operating on a completely different frequency. This law doesn't care about your credit score, your current income, or what seems logical based on your circumstances. It's waiting right now for your voice to permit it and your decree to authorize it to transform your financial reality. Think about this for a moment. Every major breakthrough in human history happened because someone dared to speak possibilities that seemed impossible to everyone else. The Wright brothers didn't have a logical reason to believe humans could fly, but they spoke it into existence anyway. Every innovation, every transformation, every leap forward started with someone declaring something that defied conventional wisdom. Now, I want to go even deeper into this revelation because there's an ancient story that perfectly illustrates how this spiritual law works in the most desperate circumstances. There was a widow who had nothing left but a handful of meal and a little oil. Logic said she was doomed. Common sense said she should hoard what little she had. But when a prophet instructed her to give from her lack as if it were abundance, something miraculous happened. She didn't let her empty cupboards dictate her decisions. She didn't allow her financial reality to control her actions. Instead, she spoke through her circumstances and acted on faith rather than fear. The result? Her supply became inexhaustible. The meal never ran out. The oil never failed, because she gave the word first place over her visible conditions. This is the exact same principle that can revolutionize your financial journey today. When you give your spoken word first place, when you declare abundance despite what your bank statement says, when you refuse to let current circumstances dictate your future possibilities, supply cannot withhold itself from you. It becomes bound to appear because you've aligned yourself with a law that operates beyond the limitations of human logic. The transformation happens the moment you stop negotiating with your current reality and start decreeing your desired outcome. Your words become the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every declaration of wealth, every statement of abundance, every time you speak prosperity over your life, you're actually issuing commands to the universe that must be fulfilled. Most people have been unconsciously using this law in reverse, speaking limitation and wondering why their lives reflect exactly what they've been saying. But once you understand how to flip this process, once you discover the precise words and the exact timing that activates this divine principle, everything begins to shift. Write in the comments, "I choose abundance," if you're ready to discover exactly how to speak your way into supernatural financial supply. The reason most people never experience this transformation is because they've got the entire process backwards. They're waiting to see evidence before they'll speak abundance. They want to see the money in their account before they'll declare themselves wealthy. They need proof before they'll believe. But here's the revelation that changes everything. The spiritual law operates in the exact opposite direction. While your logical mind insists, "Let me wait until I see more evidence. Let me be cautious until conditions improve," the divine principle declares something completely different. It says, "Speak first, and then you shall see." Your voice must lead, not follow your circumstances. This is the fundamental shift that separates those who break through financial barriers from those who remain stuck in the same patterns year after year. Consider this carefully. Every single thing that exists in your physical world right now was first spoken into existence. Your house, your car, your relationships, your current financial situation, all of it began as words, as declarations, as spoken intentions. The problem is that most of your financial declarations have been unconscious, negative, and limiting. You've been speaking your current reality into existence without even realizing it. But what if you could harness this creative power consciously? What if you could deliberately use your voice to reshape your financial future? The impact would be immediate and undeniable because you'd finally be working with universal law instead of against it. Here's what's fascinating about this process. There's something almost magical that happens when you commit to silencing the logic that starves and opening your mouth in faith that feeds. For just 12 days, imagine what would unfold if you refuse to let rational thinking dictate your declarations. What if you spoke abundance regardless of what your bank statement showed? What if you declared prosperity despite what your current income suggested? The truth is, all of heaven would break loose to attend your word. Angels of provision would rush to fulfill your spoken decree. The windows of supply, which never actually closed from above, but only seemed blocked by your agreement with limitation, would swing wide open to the sound of your voice. This isn't about pretending your current situation doesn't exist. This is about understanding that your current situation is temporary and completely subject to change based on what you consistently speak over your life. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, you'll find someone who dared to speak their desired outcome before they had any logical reason to believe it was possible. The journey from lack to abundance always begins with a decision to trust your voice more than your visible circumstances. It requires you to become comfortable with declaring what you want rather than describing what you currently have. This shift in mindset creates a ripple effect that touches every area of your financial experience. Most people have never experienced the true power of their spoken word because they've never tested it consistently. They might speak abundance once or twice, but when they don't see immediate results, they go back to their old patterns of lack-based conversation. They don't realize that transformation happens through sustained declaration, through refusing to let temporary appearances override their divine destiny. Write "I speak first" in the comments if you're beginning to understand how your voice can become the key that unlocks unlimited financial supply. The breakthrough happens when you understand that every fear-based statement you've been making can be instantly replaced with a faith-filled declaration. Right now, your unconscious mind has been programmed to say things like, "Hold on tight when money feels scarce," or "I hope this works out" when facing financial pressure. But here's the hidden truth about transformation. You can literally substitute these automatic responses with statements that align with abundance. Instead of gripping tightly to what little you have, you can train yourself to declare, "I release with joy and I receive with grace." Rather than constantly negotiating with your financial past, rehearsing old failures and limitations, you can begin announcing your abundant future aloud. This shift creates an immediate impact on your subconscious mind, which doesn't distinguish between what you're remembering and what you're declaring as your new reality. The revelation goes even deeper when you realize that most people have been carving grooves of lack in their minds for years, sometimes even generations. These mental pathways have been worn smooth by constant repetition of limitation-based thoughts and words. Your family might have passed down phrases like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "We can't afford that." These aren't just innocent expressions. They're spiritual decrees that have been shaping your financial destiny behind the scenes. If this message has resonated with something deep inside you, if you feel like you've discovered a missing piece of your financial puzzle, go ahead and hit that like button. It lets me know these deeper teachings are connecting with people who are truly ready for change. But here's what changes everything. You can take what Florence Scovel Shinn called the holy scalpel of truth and deliberately carve new grooves in your mind and mouth. This is surgery of the soul, a conscious decision to interrupt old patterns and install new ones. You cannot continue saying, "I am broke," while simultaneously expecting wealth to flow into your life. The universe responds to your dominant declarations, not your occasional hopes. Think about the profound impact this has on your daily experience. Every time you catch yourself about to speak lack, you now have the power to pause and choose a different response. When bills arrive, instead of saying, "I can't afford this," you can declare, "Divine supply meets every need." When unexpected expenses arise, rather than panicking with, "Where will this money come from?" you can confidently state, "Money flows to me from expected and unexpected sources." This journey of transformation requires you to become consciously aware of the words flowing from your mouth throughout each day. Most people have no idea how much limitation they speak because these patterns have become so automatic. But once you begin paying attention, once you start catching yourself in the act of cursing your own financial future, you can immediately course correct with declarations that align with prosperity. The mindset shift happens gradually as you consistently choose abundance-based language over lack-based language. Your subconscious mind begins to accept these new patterns as truth, and your external circumstances start reflecting this internal transformation. What seemed impossible when you were speaking from fear becomes inevitable when you're declaring from faith. Now, I want to reveal exactly how this process unfolds when you commit to specific daily declarations that literally rewire your relationship with money. Write, "I choose new words," in the comments if you're ready to replace every fear-based statement with declarations that attract unlimited financial supply. This transformation process isn't just about changing your vocabulary or playing word games. What you're engaging in is literal surgery of the soul, a precise spiritual procedure that cuts away old limitations and grafts new possibilities into your consciousness. The impact of this process has rescued countless lives, not through dramatic interventions or complex strategies, but through the deceptively simple substitution of one phrase for another. Consider the profound shift that happens when you replace "I can't afford it" with "it is done." These aren't just different words, they're completely different realities. When you say "I can't," you're declaring limitation as your truth and closing the door to possibilities. But when you declare "it is done," you're operating from a place of completion. Speaking as someone who already possesses what they desire, the most fascinating aspect of this journey is that you don't need to feel overwhelming belief when you begin speaking these new declarations. In fact, most people start this process with trembling voices and uncertain hearts. The revelation is that you must speak for the thing you've asked for, even when no belief is stirring yet within you. Your voice, when saturated with rhythm and faith, shapes the atmosphere around you faster than your logical mind can comprehend or keep up with. Think about what happens behind the scenes when you consistently speak prosperity over your life. Every declaration creates vibrations that ripple out into the invisible realm where all possibilities exist. These spoken words begin gathering the people, circumstances, and opportunities that will manifest your desires in the physical world. The universe starts reorganizing itself to match the frequency of your declarations. This is why the mindset shift must happen at the level of your voice first, not your feelings. Your emotions will catch up to your declarations, but you can't wait for your emotions to lead the way. The decision to speak abundance, regardless of how you feel internally, creates a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. What's remarkable is how quickly this process begins working once you commit to it fully. Your subconscious mind doesn't argue with what you consistently declare. It simply accepts your spoken word as truth and begins creating circumstances that align with your declarations. The transformation happens from the inside out, starting with your words and gradually affecting every aspect of your financial experience. Most people never discover this hidden truth because they're waiting to feel different before they'll speak differently. But the spiritual law operates in reverse. You speak differently first, and then you begin to feel and experience the changes. Your voice becomes the catalyst that triggers everything else. Now, I want to reveal the exact daily practice that activates this transformation and show you precisely how to structure your declarations for maximum impact on your financial reality. Write, "My voice shapes reality" in the comments if you're beginning to understand how your spoken words literally surgery your financial future into a new dimension of possibility. The moment of true transformation arrives when you're willing to declare your wealth with the force and certainty of thunder that refuses to be silenced. This isn't about whispering affirmations or hoping quietly for change. This is about speaking with such conviction that the very atmosphere around you shifts in response to your voice. You must be willing to say aloud with unwavering power, "I am rich, I am rich, I am rich." The key is repetition with absolute authority. You speak these words until the shadow of doubt leaves your consciousness. You declare them until every lie you've believed about your financial limitations shatters completely. You continue until your inner world breaks open and reveals the abundant reality that has always been waiting for your recognition. Behind the scenes of every major financial breakthrough, you'll find someone who dared to speak their desired identity before they had any evidence to support it. They understood that their voice carries creative power, that their declarations literally sculpt their future reality. The impact of this practice extends far beyond the words themselves. It rewires your entire relationship with abundance. But here's where most people miss the deeper revelation about timing and strategic declaration. Your first word each morning is your first wave of creative energy, your first swing of the spiritual scepter that commands your day. The decisions you make in those precious moments after waking determine whether you'll live from a place of power or be constantly reacting to circumstances. If you don't seize the throne of your morning with a royal tongue, speaking abundance and prosperity as your first conscious act, then your entire day will be hijacked by wandering thoughts, external pressures, and the chaotic energy of an unguarded mind. The transformation you're seeking requires you to become intentional about these opening moments. Think about the profound mindset shift that occurs when you train yourself to speak wealth before you even check your phone, before you review your to-do list, before you allow the world to tell you what kind of day you're going to have. You're literally programming the frequency of your entire day through your first spoken declarations. Most successful people, whether they realize it or not, have mastered this practice of morning dominion. They understand that the first thoughts and words set the trajectory for everything that follows. Your subconscious mind is most receptive in those early moments, most willing to accept new programming and release old limitations. The journey from financial struggle to abundance isn't just about changing what you do. It's about transforming who you become through the consistent practice of royal declaration. Every morning becomes an opportunity to speak your way into a higher dimension of financial reality. Now I want to reveal the exact morning declaration that has transformed thousands of lives and show you precisely how to implement this practice for maximum transformation in your own financial experience. Write, "I claim my morning throne," in the comments if you're ready to begin each day by speaking abundance into existence before the world has a chance to program your mind with limitation. The profound secret behind this transformation lies in understanding that the first moments after waking are the most fertile garden gates of your soul. These precious minutes represent virgin soil where you can plant seeds of truth that will bloom throughout your entire day. When you plant abundance, in these sacred moments, your whole day unfolds in harmony with your declarations, creating synchronicities and opportunities that seem to appear from nowhere. Most people completely waste this golden window of possibility. They immediately reach for their phones, flooding their consciousness with news, emails, and other people's agendas. They allow external chaos to hijack their internal compass before they've even established their own direction. But when you understand the hidden power of these morning moments, you can literally architect your entire financial reality through strategic declaration. This is the type of transformational content I bring you consistently here, revealing the hidden laws that govern wealth and showing you exactly how to apply them. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready to continue this journey of financial awakening with me. Here's the exact practice that has created miraculous transformations in thousands of lives. The moment you become conscious upon waking, before speaking to anyone, before opening your mouth for anything else, you declare with precision and authority, "This is a perfect day. Miracles now unfold in divine order. Unexpected money flows to me now." The impact of these specific words spoken in this exact sequence creates a vibrational frequency that magnetizes abundance throughout your day. The revelation here is that you must repeat this declaration with exactness, not emotion. You're not trying to feel overwhelming gratitude or manufacture artificial excitement. You're simply stating spiritual law with the same certainty you might state your name. The power lies not in the emotional intensity, but in the consistent precision of the spoken word. Behind the scenes, what happens when you establish this morning practice is truly remarkable. Your subconscious mind accepts these declarations as your new operating system. Every decision you make throughout the day becomes filtered through this abundance consciousness. Opportunities that would have passed unnoticed suddenly catch your attention. Conversations that would have remained surface level somehow turn toward topics of prosperity and possibility. The mindset shift occurs gradually but inevitably as you train your consciousness to expect miracles as your daily norm rather than rare exceptions. Your internal programming begins aligning with divine order instead of human chaos. The journey from struggle to supply becomes a natural progression rather than an uphill battle. What's fascinating is how this simple practice begins attracting what Florence Scovel Shinn called unexpected money. Not the money you're working for or planning for, but financial blessings that arrive through channels you never could have orchestrated through your own efforts. The universe begins moving in response to your morning decree, arranging circumstances behind the scenes that will manifest as tangible prosperity. Now, I want to dive deeper into the science behind why these specific words create such powerful results and reveal the exact timing that amplifies their effectiveness exponentially. Write "perfect day declared" in the comments if you're committed to beginning this morning practice and speaking your way into a reality where miracles and unexpected money become your daily experience. The transformation deepens when you understand that commanding your day's reality requires a complete shift in what you allow yourself to speak about. Most people wake up and immediately begin rehearsing their problems. They talk about bills that need paying, pain they're experiencing, and challenges they're facing. But when you grasp the hidden power behind your morning declarations, you realize you must refuse to give voice to limitation. Instead of speaking about bills or pain, you deliberately choose to declare something entirely different. I walk into favor. Today is wrapped in divine provision. My supply precedes my step. These aren't just pretty words or positive thinking. They're strategic commands that literally reshape the energetic blueprint of your day. Every step you take becomes infused with expectation rather than anxiety. The key revelation here is that you cannot allow your bank balance to speak louder than your soul. Your current financial situation is merely a temporary reflection of past declarations, but your soul knows the truth about your unlimited potential. When you let external circumstances dictate your internal dialogue, you're programming more of the same limitation into your future experience. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough, there's always a moment when someone decides to stop describing their current reality and start decreeing their desired destiny. This decision represents a fundamental mindset shift from victim consciousness to creator consciousness. You stop being someone things happen to and become someone who speaks things into existence. Here's what changes everything about your journey. You're not actually broke. You're simply misprogrammed. Your subconscious mind has been running old software, ancient programming passed down through generations of scarcity thinking. But the beautiful truth is that programming can be completely rewritten through the consistent practice of bold declaration. The reprogramming process happens when you speak with morning fire, that passionate certainty that refuses to accept limitation as your permanent address. You declare with unwavering conviction, "This is a perfect day. I am perfectly provided for. Perfect substance flows to me from perfect channels." Each word rewrites another line of limiting code in your subconscious operating system. What's remarkable about this transformation is how quickly your external world begins reflecting your new internal programming. The impact isn't just psychological, it's practical and tangible. Opportunities start appearing. Money begins flowing from unexpected sources. Doors open that you never even knew existed. The science behind this process reveals that your brain literally cannot distinguish between what you're vividly declaring and what you're actually experiencing. When you speak abundance with conviction and repetition, your nervous system begins operating from abundance consciousness, attracting circumstances that match this new frequency. Now, I want to explore the deeper mystery of how expectation becomes the invisible force that actually pulls your spoken declarations into physical manifestation. Write, "I am reprogrammed" in the comments if you're ready to replace every limitation-based conversation with declarations that command favor, provision, and perfect supply to flow into your life. The deeper mystery behind this transformation reveals itself when you understand that there's an invisible spiritual oil of expectancy that begins flowing the moment you stop speaking from fear and start speaking from faith. But this isn't faith in struggle, grinding, or hustling your way to success. This is faith in divine timing and spiritual law, the unwavering certainty that abundance operates on a completely different frequency than human effort. This oil of expectancy is subtle yet incredibly potent. It begins to flow through your consciousness, your conversations, and your daily decisions when you align your voice with divine provision rather than earthly limitation. Behind the scenes, this expectancy creates an energetic atmosphere around you that literally attracts the people, circumstances, and opportunities needed to manifest your spoken declarations. The hidden truth about those who consistently receive financial breakthroughs is that they've mastered the art of preparation before manifestation. They don't wait to see evidence before they start expecting abundance. Instead, they prepare the room, set the table, and open the window as if wealth is already walking up to their door. They understand that expectancy isn't passive hope, it's authority waiting with open arms. Think about the profound mindset shift this creates in your daily experience. When you live in this state of expectant preparation, you're no longer anxiously wondering if abundance will come. You're actively preparing for its arrival. You make space in your life for increase. You clear mental and physical clutter that might block the flow of prosperity. You begin moving and thinking like someone whose financial breakthrough is already in motion. This preparation process has a remarkable impact on your subconscious mind. When you consistently act as if abundance is on its way, your brain begins accepting this reality as fact rather than fantasy. Your nervous system starts operating from expectation rather than anxiety. The decisions you make throughout each day become filtered through abundance consciousness instead of scarcity programming. The journey from struggle to supply accelerates dramatically when you understand that expectancy is actually a form of spiritual authority. You're not begging the universe for favor. You're confidently expecting what you've already claimed through your declarations. This shift in positioning changes everything about how you approach your financial situation. Most people live in a constant state of spiritual preparation for lack, unconsciously expecting bills, problems, and financial stress. But when you flip this process and begin preparing for abundance with the same intensity, your external world has no choice but to mirror your internal expectation. Now, I want to unveil the specific expectation practice that creates an irresistible magnetic pull for lavish abundance and reveal exactly how to position yourself as someone whose supply precedes their every step. Write, "I expect abundance" in the comments if you're ready to begin living in the oil of expectancy and preparing your life to receive the wealth that's already moving toward you through divine channels. The specific expectation practice that creates an irresistible magnetic pull for lavish abundance involves declaring with absolute certainty, "I expect lavish abundance, for I live in a rich, friendly universe. I expect divine provision, for my words are anchored in truth." These aren't just hopeful statements. They're spiritual facts that transform your entire relationship with money and prosperity. The revelation behind this declaration is that you must shift your fundamental perception of the universe itself. Most people unconsciously believe they live in a hostile universe that withholds good things. Where money is scarce, and you must fight for every dollar. But when you consciously declare that you live in a rich, friendly universe, you're aligning yourself with the truth that abundance is the natural state of creation. Think about the profound impact this mindset shift has on your daily decisions and interactions. When you truly believe you live in a rich, friendly universe, you stop approaching life from a defensive position. You stop hoarding, grasping, and trying to control every outcome. Instead, you begin moving through life with the confident expectation that the universe is conspiring in your favor, orchestrating circumstances to deliver exactly what you've spoken into existence. Show some love with a like if this conversation has opened your eyes to a completely new way of approaching abundance. Your engagement helps me understand that these spiritual wealth principles are landing with the right audience. The hidden truth behind this transformation is revealed through a powerful metaphor that illuminates exactly how spiritual law operates. Your spoken word is the oil, your expectancy is the wick, and your wealth is the flame that results when these two elements come together in perfect harmony. This isn't poetic language. It's a precise description of how manifestation actually works in the invisible realm. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle, you'll find this exact combination at work. Someone spoke words of abundance with unwavering expectation, and when their declarations met their expectancy in what Florence Scovel Shinn called holy speech, the miracle wasn't delayed or postponed. It was released immediately into the stream of divine timing, beginning its journey from the invisible realm into physical manifestation. The journey from struggle to supernatural supply accelerates when you understand that timing isn't about waiting. It's about the perfect coordination between your word and your expectancy. When these two forces align in your consciousness, when your spoken declarations are saturated with genuine expectation rather than desperate hope, you create the conditions for immediate spiritual release. Most people speak abundance but expect delay. They declare prosperity but anticipate struggle. This misalignment between word and expectancy creates spiritual static that interferes with the manifestation process. But when your expectancy matches your declarations, when you speak abundance and genuinely expect lavish provision, you eliminate all interference and create a clear channel for miracles. Now, I want to explore how this principle operates specifically in relationship to money circulation and reveal the spiritual law that ensures whatever you release returns to you, multiplied beyond your wildest imagination. Write "rich, friendly universe" in the comments if you're ready to align your expectancy with your declarations and experience the immediate release of supernatural financial supply. The spiritual law of money circulation operates on a completely different frequency than most people understand, and this creates one of the most subtle yet destructive barriers to lasting financial transformation. There's a hidden fear that haunts even those who successfully attract money. The fear that whatever comes in will eventually vanish. This creates a hesitation, a tendency to clutch and hoard rather than flow and circulate. But here's the revelation that changes everything about your relationship with money. Spirit's wealth doesn't deplete the way earthly resources do. It doesn't drain away or disappear. Instead, it circulates through the bloodstream of your spoken word, constantly renewing itself, constantly expanding, constantly returning to you in greater measure than what you released. The mindset shift happens when you understand that you're not dealing with a physical purse that empties when you spend from it. You're accessing a spiritual purse that operates on divine circulation principles. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle, there's someone who discovered this truth and began speaking accordingly. When you deliberately declare, "As money goes out, money flows in," my purse is always filled, something profound occurs in your consciousness. You stop clutching a dying purse and start commanding the law of divine circulation. You move from scarcity-based thinking that says, "I only have so much," to abundance-based declaring that says, more is always coming. Think about the transformation this creates in your daily financial decisions. Instead of approaching every expenditure with anxiety, wondering if you'll have enough left over, you begin spending from a place of circulation consciousness. Every dollar that flows out becomes a signal to the universe that you're ready for more, that you trust the divine economy, that you're no longer operating from fear-based hoarding. The journey from financial anxiety to financial authority happens when you realize that your purse is not made of leather or fabric. It's made of spirit. It's governed by law, not by limitation. The impact of this understanding extends far beyond your bank account. It affects how you move through the world, how you make decisions, and how you respond to opportunities. Most people treat money like a finite resource that must be carefully rationed and protected. But when you understand spiritual circulation, you begin treating money like a river that flows through your life, bringing abundance as it moves. You become a conduit for prosperity rather than a container trying to hold on to whatever little you have. Now, I want to dive deeper into the profound principle of denial and reclamation, revealing how to recover everything that seems lost and command the full restoration of your divine financial inheritance. Right? Money flows through me. In the comments, if you're ready to stop clutching a dying purse and start commanding the infinite circulation of divine abundance through your spoken word. The profound principle of denial and reclamation reveals one of the most powerful hidden truths about spiritual law. There is no loss in divine mind. Every dollar that seems to have vanished, every opportunity that appeared to slip away, every financial setback that felt permanent, none of these represent actual loss in the realm of spirit. Everything that seemed lost can be summoned again through proper alignment and strategic speech. This revelation transforms your entire approach to financial recovery. Instead of mourning what's gone or trying to figure out how to rebuild from scratch, you learn to declare with unwavering authority, I deny loss. Nothing can be taken from me by divine right. This isn't denial in the psychological sense. It's spiritual authority that refuses to accept limitation as permanent reality. Behind the scenes of every major financial comeback, there's someone who discovered this principle and applied it with precision. They stopped seeing themselves as victims of circumstance and started operating as commanders of spiritual law. The mindset shift from, I lost everything, to nothing real can be taken from me, creates an entirely different relationship with setbacks and challenges. The transformation deepens when you understand the crucial difference between trying to get something back versus commanding it into view. Most people approach financial recovery from a place of desperation, frantically trying to recreate what they once had. But spiritual authority operates from a completely different frequency. You don't beg for restoration. You command it through divine right. When you declare, nothing is missing, nothing is lost, I now reclaim it all. Through spiritual authority, you're not making a wishful request. You're issuing a decree that the invisible realm must honor. Your voice becomes the instrument through which divine law corrects what appears to be loss and reveals what was never actually gone. Think about the profound impact this has on your emotional state and decision-making process. Instead of carrying the heavy energy of loss and grief about past financial failures, you begin moving through life with the confident expectation that everything meant for you is finding its way back to you. This shift in consciousness creates space for miraculous restoration that wouldn't be possible while you're still mourning what seems missing. The journey from victim consciousness to spiritual authority requires you to stop explaining your losses and start declaring your divine inheritance. What seems lost was never actually yours to lose. It was temporarily obscured by false appearances that your spoken word has the power to dissolve. Now, I want to explore the sacred practice of tithing with your tongue and reveal how giving the first fruits of your speech creates an irresistible magnetic pull for supernatural financial increase. Write, I reclaim it all, in the comments if you're